Yo, 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 yo,
Looking very
yo.
Christmassy, mate.
Mate, I'm in the spirit, and I'm here. I'm ready to go for it. Got me Big Ben on my tree, my London bus, my black cab. You like something? The baubles and stuff are just falling on the floor. Am I allowed to call it a black cab? Don't know.
Who knows,
London
mate? Who
cab.
knows with the rules these days?
That's it, London cab. How are you?
Yeah, all right, mate. Not too bad. Not too
Good
bad.
weekend?
Very heavy, mate. Very heavy. So, but a lot of fun. It was good. The football put a little bit of a dampener on it, mate, but not too much because you look at that table, mate, and we're still sitting there in seventh. And at this time of year, for us to be where we are at the moment is a lot nicer than usual.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I'll make you right. And to be fair, although we got beaten 3-1, I ain't sure 3-1's a fair reflection on the game. I thought we should have been out of sight first half, if I'm on it, in my opinion. That's not being biased, that's just my honest take on it. Should have been 2-3 up. That's definitely 2 up, 3, maybe 4 up. And, it would have been a different game second half. I don't think they would have come back. Unfortunately, Man United done what they've done. A bit of class come on with Fernandez, Mata. I just think they stretched us, mate, and pulled us all over the place, and we didn't match it. And again, I don't want to be negative here, but I've got to talk negative because there's negatives from it. We're moaning about the ball going out. I get that, I do get it, but last week we had a bit of VAR go with us. Yes, he was offside, but we also watched Bonner have his hands around his neck. So possibly should have been a penalty. We got away with that. And again, as much as it might have gone out of play, and the thing that worries me is we didn't match them. And when they changed their thingy, when they brought off Martial and brought on Mata and Fernandez in the morning, mate, in the middle, not in the morning, in the middle, just stretched us so much, and it just found holes for them. And the balls through the middle. Why on earth we didn't bring the extra body on in midfield? Then I'll never know. That's what worries me, not the fact we didn't get a VAR decision, but we do know. And I praised him, so I will criticise, and I'm going to criticise him here. Davy Moyes don't know anything, or doesn't seem to know anything, except for the one way we're playing. And that's what worries me. We needed to change and we didn't.
No, I agree with you, and I think, mate, there's so many reasons to not only not be downhearted, but to be positive about the season that we've had so far. I hate that word because it's thrown away between West Ham fans all the time. Got to be positive, got to be this. We're always too negative, blah, 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 blah. It drives me absolutely mad. But we've had a very good start to the season. We're sitting very pretty in seventh at the moment, mate. We're nice and comfortable. We're not looking over our shoulder. And that's going to make for quite an enjoyable Christmas time because normally over this sort of period, we're desperate for points, and
Yeah.
it's difficult because games come thick and fast. And when you've got, not the biggest squad in the world, which we all know we feel like we're a little bit weak other than our starting 11, then
Mm-hmm.
those Christmas games can be difficult. So I'm very happy with how things have been. It is nice to watch West Ham again because we are picking up results, picking up points. We're not looking over our shoulder. But for me, I don't take that game that we've just had. We can all start commenting on that. There was a big thing that happened the week before that I don't think has been discussed about enough, which had a big effect on the weekend's game. And that was the fact that Moyes played Antonio way before he was ready to come back. And now he ain't even on the bench again. And I wouldn't mind if when Antonio played in that game, it looked like he was fit. He didn't just look off the pace. He looked so far away from being ready. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So if he was that far away from being ready, what was he doing on that football pitch? And I think it's been kind of overlooked a little bit, and I don't think there's been enough criticism for what happened now. But the next thing that I want to go on to, and Kent's not going to like this because he just said, "Good morning, lads. Morning, Kent. Great first half. Yes, paid for a lack of finishing. Absolutely right. If you don't take your chances in the Premier League, you get punished. Just as showed just how weak our squad is. I'm worried about Friday's game. People need to get off Haller's back. I am going to jump straight on his back. I am going to proper give it to him, mate, because he was so pony at the weekend. Not only do I
Who?
now think Haller,
Really?
not only do I now think that he just doesn't get the service. That man is proper useless, mate. I think he is awful. There were times when he was about a couple of yards outside the box, and we broke away down the left, and we was about to cross the ball in. And he looked and he thought, shall I try and get there? And it weren't a question of, do I want to hold my position on the edge of the box because the ball might come to me? It was, I really can't be bothered to run. And then all of a sudden, he felt like, I'm going to try. And he tries to get going, and he gets nowhere near the middle of the box. He is the most lazy, most pointless, most useless striker that I've ever seen, mate. He is absolutely too bob, and I'm finished with him. Totally finished.
Do you know what? I don't think he done that bad at all. I really don't. Don't get me wrong. The miss where he slipped, but again, he slipped. Anyone can slip. I think he made runs at times as well where he wasn't found. I understand what you said at times, and it doesn't look like he ever wants to break sweat for the team. I do, but I agree with you there. But I think there was times, and I think this is why everybody else now tweets, and like in our group chat, gets on Fornals back. Bad ball by Fornals, X, Y, Z. At times, that ball ain't released for him. I thought we'd done all right. I really do. For the first half especially, thought we'd done well. And the start of the second half, I thought the whole team, apart from Declan Rice, Valbuena, sort of slipped away for the last half hour. I thought them two were superb for the entire match, if I'm honest. I thought that was our best two. I don't think he's pony. I think that the problem again with him is we want him to do what Antonio does. And I make you right. I do, mate, I do, because I think that's the way Moyes plays. And that's what
my biggest problem is, how do you play this geezer then? Because when he played in Europe, he had, but mate, you can't just say close. He had two other world-class strikers round him when he was at Frankfurt. We ain't ever going to have that luxury. I don't care about how you can try and... We are never going to be in a position to play with three out-and-out strikers at West Ham because we haven't got the personnel elsewhere to do it. So it's never going to be played into his hands. Not only that, mate, but if you play with two world-class strikers around you, I'm pretty sure you'd get goals. Because at the end of the day, they are going to feed into you and you're going to get so many chances. I think his technical ability with his feet is all right. We saw him when he put a cross into the box. It was a decent cross. Mate, he can do stuff with the football. But in the Premier League, you are not going to get the amount of chances that I think he needs. I don't think he's going to get the space he needs. Because he looks like, when he runs, mate, he's in slow motion. I can't believe how slow the man is. He just never seems to get there.
That's why when you play with someone like him, you have to play a different way. You have to play players close. Real close, and we play this with wing backs, 3 or 5 at the back, however you want to call it, with the wing backs, then the 2 defensive midfielders, then the 3 forwards. So let's say we play a 5-2-3, but we know the 3 isn't a close 3. Them 2 are the wide of the width of the 3 are covering your wing backs. For that man to work at our club, we have to play, in my opinion, 3-5-2. And the one man, the 2 forwards, whoever he plays, let's say for argument's sake, he played with Bowen, for argument's sake, closely behind them in your extra one in midfield has got to be someone like Ben Rama or Fornals, who will open teams up and get them little through balls through to him. I think then you'd see a much better and different player.
Well, you certainly wouldn't want to put a through ball to him, mate, because he wouldn't be able to run onto it because he wouldn't get there. But
you'll be close,
the only way that he gets goals is if the ball lands at his feet in the box. If it lands at his feet in the box or on his head, he gets goals because he does finish. I give him that. But I just don't think it happens enough, mate. I just really, really don't think it. And I don't think it will ever happen at West Ham. Moyes is not going to play the way that you have to play to get the feet to his box often enough in the box. You just won't. And that's for me why it's over with him. Like, it's done. It's finished. Like, he needs to go in the summer and in the next window, and he just needs to... we just need to replace him because he's just never going to be right for us. Would
you swap him for, let's say, Josh King?
At the moment, I'd take anyone other than him. Anyone. He offers nothing, mate. Nothing. And it's just, for me, it's just a pointless task with him out there. Absolutely pointless. There is an argument that, and a few people are saying it in the comments, that, Ben Rama is really important to Haller trying to, have something that he can have someone around him who is going to try and get the ball into his feet and get up there and get close with him. Because at the moment, Fornals just isn't doing it, is he, mate? Like, let's be honest. Every game, I just think Fornals offers nothing. So with him and Haller, it's just we're just missing so much up front, and I think Benrahma needs to start, mate. I think his speed looks good. I think his creativity looks good. And I think, maybe that might give him half a chance of just. I don't think Haller will ever be good for us, but I think Benrahma around him may make him a little bit more effective than what he is now.
Mate, I think he offered us something the weekend that we ain't seen out of him before, and I don't think he played that badly, if I'm honest. I don't see why we can't play the four of them. I can see why, because our manager's too defensive and then he wants to hit sides on the counter-attack. I don't see why we can't play with four. I don't know why we can't play, as I say, the 3-5-2 and or a 4-3-3 and have that one man right close in up behind him as well. I think you'll see a much better player. And as I say, we know, because Antonio's told us, he's been told by David Moyes to always stay in line with the ball. That's fine when you've got pace and power. We haven't got that with Haller, but he'll want the same out of him. So you're exposing him already. We've all spoke about Anderson, for argument's sake. You're not a bad footballer because you're not playing well out of position. You're a bad footballer in the wrong position. That's the difference. And I think the same is happening with Haller. I honestly believe that. I do. And the worry is, again, we know the style he wants to play. Now, I'll put this out there. And again, I don't want it just to all be about the board. The board have something to be responsible for it, for not giving the manager the players they wanted. We know David Moyes didn't want Benrahma. We know David Moyes wanted Josh King. Maybe it's for them reasons. Josh King ain't got a good record this year so far at Bournemouth. And I know he's been injured, but maybe
get onto conversations with the board at the moment, mate, because and this actually that's what quite annoys me at the moment, because everyone's looking to blame everything other than David Moyes. It's almost like David Moyes it's almost like he's the untouchable man. Let's have it right. Fornals has done nothing, shouldn't have played at the weekend. Benrahma should have played. When Benrahma come on, he looked bright, he looked positive, it looks like he can make things happen. Fornals at the moment is offering nothing and hasn't offered nothing for weeks. At some point, he has to drop Fornals and bring Benrahma in, because he just don't offer anything at the moment. He don't offer anything defensively. The fact that Fornals helps out defensively is a myth. He does run up and down that line, but he never gets there to make tackles. You never see him behind Masuaku, putting a tackle in, putting his foot in, coming away with a ball. And sometimes Fornals just runs around like a headless chicken, mate. He don't actually offer anything. He had that little chance where he hit the post. But when you watch the slow replay back, the reason he hit the post is because he tried to go with it with his wrong foot. If he'd have kicked it with a natural foot with that ball in that position, it goes in. For me, Fornals needs to be changed.
I understand that, I do. But, all people have done is dug out Haller and Fornals for their misses. I get that.
No, not for their misses, for their last 3 weeks' performances of not really doing very much. It wasn't just that they missed a couple of chances in this game. Their performances for the last couple of weeks haven't been good enough.
But don't you have to be in them positions and do your job right to be in them positions to get them chances?
No, and this is the difference. Bowen makes things happen, mate. And he misses chances, yeah, but I ain't got a problem with that, because he does so much to get more chances and puts himself around and makes things happen. I don't mind missing chances when you can see the thing like Bowen just putting in that effort so much, mate. Bowen just is a non-stop. He's relentless. If he misses a chance, he goes again. I just don't see that from him.
Don't they all? Well, I ain't sure, if I'm honest. My opinion is, I think you get something out of Fornals you won't get out of Benrahma. I think Benrahma offers you a lot more going forward. I really do. I completely and utterly agree. But I think you get something out of Fornals you won't get out of Benrahma.
Yeah, do you know what? The reason why I ain't bothered, because at the end of the day, if Benrahma doesn't help out that much defensively, is it that big a deal? Because he's got Masuaku behind him, and then he's also got Cresswell on the inside. If we was playing with four at the back, I would say, we have to have a winger that tracks. At the moment, there's two more defenders behind. So let's go for having a little bit more attacking threat.
But that's not the player's fault. That's the manager's fault. I agree with you, and he is questionable on it, because we know it's the same way week in, week out. And it ain't always going to work. Kent's just put it. It will not work against Leeds. Leeds are too energetic for us. They will overrun us.
But we know
Completely and utterly.
next week we will start with the same starting lineup with the same formation. It won't
But
change.
that's not them players' fault. That's the
I
manager's
didn't say,
fault.
mate. I'm not blaming.
No, I know.
What have I just said? Moyes is like the
right.
untouchable man right now. I don't understand why.
But we dig out people like Fornals for them reasons, and we dig out people like Haller. I don't think it's their fault. We've dug out Anderson for so long. You said it yourself earlier. If we played four at the back, which we used to do, with Anderson in front of him, didn't work because we were expecting a flair player who plays not as a left midfielder.
At the moment, with Fornals, for whatever reason, he's got this thing in his head where he always goes backwards, never goes forward. Don't understand why. Fornals used to go forward, used to be a threat. Even at the weekend, Masuaku got the ball out wide. I thought Fornals break into the space behind, make a run. He just stood there. He wants to play backwards. He's got to one of these things. There's this typical West Ham thing we see all the time, and I don't know where it comes from. Someone gets the ball. And no, someone gets the ball and players point backwards, go backwards. They're pointing, go backwards. No, don't go backwards, go forwards. Try and make something happen. We go backwards far too often. Fornals has got this habit at the moment. I don't understand why. I don't know why all of a sudden he wants to play backwards all the time. When he goes forwards and he gets in good positions, Fornals can be a threat. We've seen him inside the box. I know he's missing chances at the moment, but he does get in good positions, like you said. That is one thing I'll give to him. Fornals has definitely got a good footballing brain, a very good footballing brain. But for some reason at the moment, he just wants to play backwards all the time. I don't really get it.
I think personally, we need to really adapt, and the manager needs to change it because it ain't going to keep working, and it hasn't working. The last half hour, there's a reason why, and this is the thing, right? Man United set up against us incorrectly, and that's why we run the game. He realised, as bad a manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, he realised what was wrong in the game for Man United and changed his shape and adapted to get in control of the game. As soon as they got in control,
and watched.
This is my point. As soon as he got in control, our manager should have seen why, because I could, as a fan, I could see him stretching us. I could see him making holes in midfield. Should have sat there on the sideline with his coaches and thought, we need an extra body here. We're being opened up. We can't afford to have this. Or they're going to control the game for the last half hour, as they've done. Look at our substitutes. Bowen and Fornals for Lanzini and Ben Rama. It's the same every single week. And then a right back for a right back. Because Kufau was being exposed as well for pace again.
Mate,
which I got pulled out for.
I jumped on Garage Football on Friday night, and the general thing was like Soufal's been the best bit of business we've done in like forever.
I think he has been good.
But the best bit of business we've done.
No,
you can't tell me that Soufal's better business than Bowen's been.
He's not. Nor Surchek. Not better business than
Surchek, nor the most. So that was madness. That comment, madness. But I said again, we are absolutely being targeted down his side because he goes forward with so much freedom, but he can't get back. And it happened again, and it cost us a goal. He was nowhere to be seen.
We used to watch it with Zabaleta when they wanted it from him. And he's just put, and for me, this is the right thing. Not like for like substitutes. We needed an extra body in midfield. One of them wingers should have been taken off for the only other central midfielder at the club, Mark Noble, and put into that middle and had free. Stop them holes. Closed up the game. Man United wouldn't have run us and stretched us as much like that. But their manager, who everyone talks about should be sacked, who's a poor manager, found it out. Worked the game out. Worked out what was wrong. Worked out how to get at us. What did ours do? Went on the back foot and just changed like for like. I will praise David Moyes for the change he's given West Ham, for the work rate he's given West Ham. What them players deliver every week. I'm not afraid to praise him. I'm not going to, same as Kufau, I think he's been a good signing. Doesn't mean he's faultless and not questionable. And I think he is. I said it after the third game. I have not seen a repeat performance from what he done on his debut at Leicester still to this day. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I've not seen that repeat performance. That game, he was right across everywhere. He defended in left back. He was up and down that wing. He hasn't done that since. That's my opinion. And if anyone wants to show me where he has, I'll eat my hat. But I don't think he has. I really don't. I think he's been caught.
No,
I think he's been exposed.
Right. And do you know what, mate? I think there's a couple of things in that, what you've just said. There's just... I don't think he can get back because of his pace. I don't think he should be as free down that right-hand side as he is at the moment. I think Bowen's got enough pace and enough running about him to leave Bowen in front. I don't really think we have any need for Sufal to try and overlap him. If he hasn't got the pace back, don't do it. Just sit in, yes, get forward, yes, support Bowen, but don't go as far as overlapping him and trying to get to the byline. I don't think it's needed. That way we won't get caught out as much. So do that. And I think, again, we saw at the weekend, mate, when Declan Rice sat in front of that back four, he looks world class. Declan Rice looks unbelievable. The way he reads a game, the tackles he puts in, mate, is out of this world. He is the best reader of the game from a holding midfield position that I've seen in a very, very long time. And the way he put his foot in against that, I can't remember who it was who he got back against. I think it was Martial Rashford. It was Rashford because he left him on the floor, didn't he? Yeah. Brilliant tackle, unbelievable. Declan, don't worry about scoring goals. Don't worry about going forward. Forget about it. Sit in and do that. Because when Surchek goes, he gets goals. He is a proper threat. Declan Rice hasn't got it in his locker. I know he wants to try and add this thing to his game. We don't need it. What we need him to do is what he's absolutely best at, and that's sitting in front of that back three. And when he's there, mate, he looks superb. When he goes forward, he sort of looks back. Shall I try and get back? Shall I try and cover? Shall I not? Doesn't quite get there. It's just I don't think he's ever going to have it in him to be a box-to-box midfielder. And I think he just needs to focus on what he does best. And when he does, mate, he looks so good. I just want to see him do what he knows.
Yeah, do you know, I don't think you're wrong. But when you say I don't think he ever will be, I think he will the day he leaves the football club and he's got better coaches, better players around him, and people that can cover him. I think you'll see a better...
But you've admired players like Makaleli before. Mate, there is some glory in being as good as you are at that role. You don't have to add goals. No. You don't have to do all this, mate. At the end of the day, I think he's so good at what he naturally does. I just want to see him do that. And I think I actually think he would get better, but I still don't think any top level coach would think he has to be able to add more attacking threat to his game. I think a top coach just says, listen, you are one of the world's best at doing what you do. Let's focus on making sure that that's what you offer to the team. I think this whole, I've got to get forward, add more assists, add more shots to my game, add more goals. I don't think it's necessary. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I don't make you wrong. I think the difference is as well, a top club which is bigger and better than West Ham, he'll have more players around him that will also fill in and do the jobs. Whereas at West Ham, you know, he says about winning the goals. Maybe it's what David Moyes wants out of him as well, because he needs it. Because he only plays with a one forward when Antonio's not there and he ain't the man to keep supplying his goals. Maybe he needs someone else to help him to get goals for the club. Because we know how we play. And, you know, the game against Leeds Friday will be perfect for David Moyes because all he wants to do is the counter-attacking football. Get the teams on it. And Leeds will commit numbers. The problem is Leeds are very fit and Leeds will go for 90 minutes. We see, and we did see West Ham the weekend, come the 70th, 75th minute, not blowing, but it slowed down, being on the back foot after having a little bit of a go in the first half. We went on the back foot, and because they found the extra man, they found the extra bit of space, it stretched us, we went chasing. And that's why they found the space they did for their goals, their chances. Leeds will find that as well, because Leeds will keep working, and we won't be able to compete with their work rate. So he must, and I mean he must, David Moyes, think before going into that game and saying, we just go the same way. We have the same team, the same setup, and we'll approach this game and hope we don't get caught, defend well as we have done in other games, and hope to nick one on the counter. Because if that's what we do, I think you could see Leeds running the show and probably having like 15, 20 attempts at goal against us.
I think
and as soon as that first one, as soon as that first one goes in, that's the game plan gone then. And if that goes in early for a bit of luck or anything, that's a long 90 minutes to change that.
I think the reason he will is because the first half performance was so good and it was Man United. So I think he'll put it down to it being Man United.
Yeah, of course.
I think he'll just say, keep it the same. But, you know, there were signs that keep doing what we was doing, we'd come unstuck eventually. There were glimpses that we had to try and do, and it could be as simple as Ben Rama for Fornals. It could be as simple as trying to bring Fornals into the middle but have Ben Rama out wide. It could be as simple as we just need Antonio back. But you can't rely on one player throughout your season. No. I know, mate, a side like West Ham, your best player, if you lose them, it's always going to be massive. If we lost Declan Rice, it would be massive. If we lost Ogbonna, it would be massive. It's always going to be big if you lose one of your top players in one of the positions. But, I think it was time for us to start to not change everything but tweak. I think there was enough warning signs that we had to do something just a little bit different, and we haven't. And the first half was good. Yeah, I'm giving loads of credit for that first half performance. Yes, we should have been a couple of goals off. We should have killed the game off. It should have been done and dusted, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We've just said it. Ollie made changes, and we sat and watched. If a team makes changes to expose your weaknesses or to improve on what they've done, you can't just sit there and think, well, we'll just keep doing the same thing until the 75th minute. Can't do that. You've got to adapt with them. You've got to make changes. And we didn't. And that's disappointing, because I said to you at halftime when those players were coming on and they got the goal, it was right. How are we going to react now? And I said to everyone in the chat, all the people who have been really backing David Moyes and everything else, now we're going to see what he's made of. What is he now going to do to react to the fact that they've got that goal? The momentum's changed. What is he going to change about us to get us, back into the game? And he didn't do anything, nothing. And that was disappointing for me.
And I made the comment after you played Aston Villa, and again, I put it in the group chat at the time. The possession stats were 62% to Aston Villa, 38 to us. Manchester United was 61, us 39. And we bossed that game first half, but the total stat was 39-61. Because it's the same old, same old. You just said it. What will he do to make changes? I'll tell you what he'll do, and we'll know what he'll do next week. We will swap like for like. Because that's all we do. That's all we know. Bowen will come off, Fornals will come off, on will come Lanzini, and on will come Ben Rama. Because there's no gamble in David Moyes. David Moyes is another Alan Kirbishley. Get 40 points and the season's over. You're safe. And that's what I believe he's trying to do again. But I will praise him because there's been a massive change at West Ham. I'm not going to sit here and be a Moyes out man. And I'd still give the man a contract. My worry is he doesn't know anything else. But the reason I'd give him a contract is because what's above him won't pay what's needed to make this club go forward. And could we get worse than David Moyes? I believe we could.
Well, that's a big talking point, mate, to be honest. And Rat Boys just mentioned it. Apparently we have no real money in January. That's a story that's come out, and X has said that's almost sort of confirmed and whatever else. We've said a couple of times that after the start to the season that we've had, the season being the way it is, so many teams struggling that wouldn't normally struggle. Let's be honest, we could be Arsenal right now, mate. They're in dire straits. They are useless.
Good to see it.
It's amazing. But we could have gone third, or we touched third in the live league table at the weekend. I mean, we can go and push to make this season so successful if they're going to spend. And everyone that I said to, I just hope that they go and try and make some moves in January, because we can really kick on and do something this season. Everyone said, yeah, of course they will. They'll definitely bring some players in. They'll definitely do this. Well, they're already lining us up for the fact that they're not going to bring anybody in. And that was always the worry, that we would be so comfortable, so sure of our league position, that they'll look at that and think, no need to invest. Let's just sit in and that's it. So it's, for me, already the writing's on the wall that they're not going to spend. And I think that's a real shame when we've got something that we can build on, and we've got a season that we can build on now.
Yeah, you're right. But they're also very, very clever people. You know that, and I know that. There's a reason why they make the money they do. There's a reason why they have certain people, for example, Jim White, who sings their praises. Now, I know his is a different agenda to the normal fan, but if they was to sit here now and say, we've got £30 million to spend in January, for argument's sake, West Ham fans will say that's not enough. If they sit here now and say there's nothing to spend in January, but all of a sudden deliver two players, mate, they're going to be like, what more do you want? We've given you a couple of players. We've given the manager 2 things. I don't quite believe it. I know X has said it, but I don't believe they're going to come out and tell you, by the way, we've got X amount of money to spend in January. I think West Ham will make signings in January. I do. And I think it will be because they will then say, look, we've done this as well. We've done this, X, Y, Z, to try and win a little bit over. Them telling us now that there's 50 million quid, mate, I'm going to tell you that's not enough. Because £50 million ain't going to deliver you nothing. Not what you need, but what they'll do it all the last minute. And I strongly believe this, and I don't like them, and people know that. I want them out of the football club. But I still think they'll sign a couple of players, or at least 1, maybe 2 players in January. I do believe that. Whether they're the players that the manager wants, I don't know. And whether they're the players that they want is more probably likely than the other way round. But I think they'll deliver something, unfortunately, because I think it's that reverse psychology from them. And I think it's clever. I do think it's clever. Unfortunately, as I said just a minute ago, David Moyes could go in there with a list of 10 players, and the chances are the one player we get, the one that's on David Sullivan's list. That's my opinion on it. And the worry is to sit here and rely on what comes into the football club. It is a bigger problem than what's there. You know, we know what we need. We knew at the start. We knew we needed a forward. We knew we needed midfielders. None of them being delivered because we've got an unbalanced squad of 8 wingers to sell 2 or loan out 1, sell 1, and then loan 1 back in until the end of the season sums up what the ownership of this football club is. And that's why it doesn't matter who the manager wants. It doesn't matter who any of us think we want. You know, I know Andy just put in here about Armstrong at Blackburn. It's irrelevant, mate. I don't disagree with you, but it's irrelevant. Mate, we could be linked with the world's best. But what we get, we've been linked with Giroud every single transfer window. Why on earth would that man walk away from Chelsea to join West Ham? Would you, if you was Olivier Giroud, and not playing at Chelsea, by the way, if he wasn't, would you want to come to West Ham and be that forward and have to do what Antonio does every single week when it's not your game? He wouldn't do what Antonio does. He'd soon be exposed and shown up. He ain't the same player as what he is everywhere else and scores goals. Why is that? Because what you do at West Ham is you don't play to that player's strengths, which we don't do to Haller's. We play to Antonio's strength with Haller. And it ain't on. That's where it's bad management.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. But still, we've got all these talking points. I think you've got to have these talking points, mate, because I think if you don't, if you're not ready for making changes, for adapting, especially over this period where games come thick and fast, I think we've got to have something else than what just the one way that we've been playing. I think we've got to have something else, and we're not really seeing that. So I don't know. I do hope we bring in some good grafters, some good players, and we reinforce. And I do think there is an argument, mate, that if you was to go and have a crack at this now, in adversity, people who see it as opportunity and go and try and make things happen out of it, mate, can really, really do something special. And I think if we was to really go and have a go and bring in some serious players, I actually think there's no reason why we couldn't finish in that sort of top 7, top 6, really, with what we've got. But they're just not going to roll that dice. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to take it that seriously.
Do you know why I think as well? Because if they was to go and get the manager who he wanted, players-wise, for argument's sake, and it built on what we've got, and let's say we managed to finish 8th, all of a sudden, the contract that he wants, he's going to demand more. He's going to demand more money because of where he's got the club. It's not just survival. Well, I've pushed you onto this now. I've got you into the top 10. I need this extra money. All of a sudden, they're going to be like, we don't want this. Keep finishing in that 14th, 15th. You ain't going to be demanding too much, because you've got nothing to back up what you've done. And I sometimes have that in my head because I have zero trust in the ownership of the club. And that's why. Why has he not been given this contract already? Why all of a sudden, and this is far too late, why is X now tweeting, I'm not blaming X, by the way, why is X now tweeting that Declan Rice, they're going to try and give him a contract in the summer? Why are you waiting? Why is that contract not at him now? Why was it not at him last year? Frankie's gone. Why is it not there? Why on earth are you waiting for this summer to say to Declan Rice, we want you to stay? That should have happened the moment he won Hammer of the Year this year. There you go, son. You've won the Hammer of the Year. There you go, son. There's the captain's armband. There you go, son. There's a new contract extension for another 5 years, or an extended to 5 years on 100 XYZ amount a month. We want you at this football club. Show some ambition. Show people you want them. Not wait till David Moyes has done his job and his contract is running out or nearly finished. Do it now. You've proved to us from the start of this season you have got what we want at this football club. As owners, we want you here for this reason. Here's your contract. What else can we do to help you to keep improving this club? Because this is what we want. Why do we not got it? Because it ain't what they want. They want it the cheapest way possible. And you know what will happen? As soon as this summer comes, and let's be real here, they're offered Declan Rice a new contract a week. 80 grand, an insult. An absolute insult. And then their excuse would be, we offered him it, he didn't want to sign it. Why didn't he want to sign it? Because you're far too late. You've given him an insulting amount. You're offered whatever you've offered. Should have all been done. Every single person at West Ham, apart from the two that make the decisions, want what we all, for Declan Rice, what we all want. It's all the same thing. Not any West Ham fan wants to see him leave the football club. And I know we don't pay the money personally. Don't tell me you can afford to pay Perez, Hernandez, Arnautovic, Sanchez, all in excess of £80,000 a week. But you can't sit and say to, like you said earlier, the world's best or the country's best central defensive midfielder, there you go, boy, there's 150 grand a week. Be our all-time highest ever paid player. You deserve it, because what you're giving to us every single week warrants that money we're paying on you. That's what should happen. And there's a reason it don't, because the ambition is not there from them. What they're seeing is, we'll give him a Moody offer, and then the club will come in with 70, 80 million, because he's getting better and better and better and looking better and better and better, and his value's going up and up and up, and then we'll take it. And when we take it, we ain't got to give no one any of that, because he was our players. It's all free money.
Yeah, and it's so easy for them. And like you said, it gives them their sort of get out clause, really. Because if they turn around and say, well, we couldn't stop it, what could we do? But have you done enough before to really show that? And they haven't, and that's the problem. We said the time to do it was after he got the Hammer of the Year. That was the time to do it. He practically kept us up in the Premier League on his own, mate. He was a colossal player in that last period of that season, mate. He just stood up, become captain, and just drove that side forward and really picked up results on his own, mate. He was absolutely unbelievable. And at that
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you, right? You're Declan Rice, and West Ham now, at the end of this season, not during it, the end of the season, come to you with a new contract offer, an extension. Generally, what would your thoughts be? I know mine if I was him.
It's difficult, mate, because putting Declan Rice's head on, is a bit different to what I would think. For me, it's just I would only ever want to play for West Ham. I'd never have my head turned by anything else. But for someone who, Declan Rice, I think he obviously has a huge love for the club, but we all know he's not West Ham, through and through. So, yeah, it's a difficult one for me, mate. A difficult one.
Mate, I know the boy off the pitch. He doesn't play football for money alone. He would have left West Ham a long time ago if it was for that. But as a football club, they are showing no ambition to move forward. If it's true there's no money, which the sources who are putting it out give out true statements, again, what's that telling him? We touched third at half time the weekend. We're now sat at seventh. Why are they not saying last week when we was fifth or sixth, whatever it was, why are they not saying there's money available in January to push this club even further forward? Show that boy and the rest of the squad ambition. There's nothing now. You got what you got, mate. You got to deal with it. Why are we even allowing that to come out? This is what's wrong with the club, mate. Nothing against X, nothing at all. Nothing against Claret and Hughes people. They do what they do. These stories, and I've said this many times, should not be out. It's ridiculous that they come out. No one should know. No one should know that they're talking about giving Declan Rice a contract extension in the summer. What we should know is we see Declan Rice stood there with a shirt with 2028 on it. Or Declan Rice has signed a contract elsewhere. That's what we should know. We should not know the ins and outs of this business that goes on. The reason we do is because the two of them at the top, or especially one of them, loves every single bit of attention that comes from it and all the feedback. So now when there's the chat going around, there's no budget. As I said to you, mates, reverse psychology. There's no budget. Sack the ball, to this, to that, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. Come January, there's 2 players. Oh, look what we've done. We've delivered you 2. That's what they want. Then people like Jim White are on it.
Do you know they used to do that? They used to do things to pacify the fans. They used to play those games. They haven't played those games for a couple of years now, mate. They don't care anymore about how to spin the fans. There's none of that spin anymore. They're so cold with it. I actually genuinely think if they've said, though, there's no money, mate, there's no money. I think you may see Moyes go and pick up a free transfer to try and strengthen a bit of the squad. A similar signing to Dawson, someone that we'll never see get anywhere near that team. But I don't think you'll go and see us actually go and buy someone because we think it'll improve the first team. I really don't.
It might be a loan, mate, but there'll be people come in, and it might be the same as the Ben Rama thing, a loan with the view to buy at the end. I'm not saying there's going to be millions spent.
But even that, at the moment, there is absolutely no way when a player is not getting anywhere near starting a game, you're going to go and give him the cash for at the end of his loan. Because why would you? If he's not someone who's going to be a first-team player, what's the point in handing over 25 million for someone who's going to sit on the bench?
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. And do you think this? Do you think the reason he's sitting on the bench as much as he is because is David Sullivan signing and David Moyes is trying to prove a point? Like, don't sign over my head. Do you think that's?
I don't know whether he's trying to prove a point. I don't think Moyes has a big enough backbone to do that, to be quite honest with you, mate. But I do think it is down to the fact that Moyes has got this typical style and typical player that he wants in the side at the moment, which are grafters, which are runners. People show that commitment, and I make Moyes absolutely right. He has made us into a hard-working, grafting team, and it's how we're getting through results, and it's how we're picking up points in games that we don't necessarily deserve to get points from. But because we keep on, then that's all good. But I don't know. It's an odd one to me because I do see glimpses of Ben Rama when he comes on. I think he does look bright. I do think he looks like he's someone who can make something happen. Yeah, okay, you might not want to start him, but I think there's been an argument at times that we could have seen Ben Rama a lot earlier and give him enough time in the game to actually, have an effect. I think there's an argument on Saturday. We could have seen him from the 60th minute. We didn't need to wait until the 75th minute to see that change. It's a strange one, mate. But it clearly wasn't someone who Moyes had outlined and desperately wanted to sign, because if it was, he'd be having him in the side now. So it clearly wasn't someone that Moyes wanted.
No, and then, mate, you look at the way we play, and I've just checked it now to make sure I was right. It's the same as how we did at Everton. Tim Cahill coming off of the front, Man Utd. This is what we do now with Bowen coming off the back of Antonio. And when you ain't got one of them, you get caught. And it doesn't work, and that's why he needs. If that's the way we're going to play, he has to sign who he wants, not who the chairman wants at the football club. Because when you do that, that's when you get caught out, and you don't have enough about you. And sooner or later, mate, and we know our history at West Ham. You touched on it earlier. The fact that Antonio started last week unready. Whose fault is that? Is it? I put it down to him. It's a collective fault. Put it down to David Moyes. The medics who may have told him he's right, maybe Antonio for not being honest and saying, but if he feels right, the medics should know more. And if he is only 80% fit and only going to play half a game, why is it not the second half of a football match where you might need him to be that impact player? Why is it? I can't get it. And all them questions for me need answering, because something somewhere is very wrong. And it goes throughout the football club, whether it's the people telling the ITKs the information, has to stop. The medics, yeah, he's all right, he can play for half hour, let him play, has to stop. The manager for taking the chance, the player for not being honest. You wouldn't see this at many other football clubs. But it just always seems to happen at ours, and it's a circle. And Mike just put it there. There is no plan B. The only plan B is personnel changes. Not a system, not a formation, nothing. It is personnel.
Let's go on to a slightly more upbeat kind of topic, because there's someone who's been really standing out for me as someone that I didn't expect to be given the performances that they have been given. Who's your surprise player this season? Someone who's overachieving beyond what your expectations were? There's a couple of them, I feel, but there's one especially for me that at the weekend, especially in the first half, was superb.
Difficult, because the player I think's been most consistent or really consistent has been Aaron Cresswell. But I'm not surprised with that. I'm not at all. And the reason I think he was exposed before was because of what was in front of him, and I think he got the blame for that. But the player Ogbona's been solid, but again, it don't surprise me. Masuaku, we've known he's had it in there, but I don't really know, mate. I'm not surprised how well Cresswell's playing. I've always backed Cresswell, always. So surprised, I don't really know who I'm surprised with. Who's your man?
There's a few people who have mentioned it in the comments, mate. Balbuena for me. I think for someone who Moyes seemed to hate, he would rather play anyone other than him. Didn't even want him anywhere near the team. For him to be the most forward of that back three at the weekend, he was stepping out of the back three and making interceptions like you wouldn't believe in that first half.
I thought he was superb.
Multiple times. He done so good. I just can't believe how good Balbuena's been, considering at one point it looked like he wouldn't play another game for West Ham. I think he's really stepped up.
That's the manager's choice for him not playing another game for West Ham. Did you write him off? Because I haven't. I honestly believe going into last season, he was our best defender. I do believe that. He wasn't, because he didn't get to play towards the end. It was Diop and Ogbonna. But I honestly thought he was our best defender. I remember watching him in the friendly against Villa at Walsall, and I understood why he was nicknamed. I've gone blank here. The general.
He's a general, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, because mate, he is honestly. I think he's superb. And the weekend, the only thing I don't think he has a lot of pace. I don't think that. But sometimes, mate, there's plenty of good. Tony Adams had no pace. Didn't make him a bad defender. Probably one of the best in my lifetime.
But that also helps him being in a free. That does help him being in the free for that reason, because it means he can step out of that back two, and he knows he's still got two more behind him, so he can step forward and make those interceptions. Again, I think he's another one who reads the game so well, but he used to get exposed because of pace. And when he had players around him that was always changing, and we didn't have a set back line, I think he's really grown into it now, mate. And I just think he was superb at the weekend. I really do. Yeah,
I thought, I said it earlier on, I thought him and Rice were brilliant for 90 minutes, if I'm honest. I do think they were the pair of them. But I understand what you're saying. I just think, personally, I ain't shocked, because I didn't write him off, and I didn't write Cresswell off. And a lot of people wrote them both off, to be fair. I hadn't. The one I wrote off, and listen, I put my hands up. I say wrote off. The one I said, or we both said as well last year, I thought it was a bad move, was Antonio being a forward. Now, that's bit me on the bum. I ain't going to deny it. What he offers playing in that role up front is more than anybody else at the football club does. At the time, my point, or our point, I think, was play a player in his natural position. And at the time, it was a jetty. Looking at it now, I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we went with Antonio, with the way we're playing and the way he's responded. Because I think we're seeing the best Antonio we've ever seen at West Ham, in my opinion. So, mate, I'll put my hands up when I'm wrong. I'm quite happy to. But for the other two, I never wrote them off, mate. That either of them two, because this goes back to the performances in the last, apart from Manchester United, the 3 games that we got 9 points from. And I said this, the big thing now for football fans, not just West Ham fans, football fans, is you only play well when you play well, if that makes sense. Pretty, not well, pretty. When you play like Brazil, like Barcelona of the 2000s, that the Arsenals when they was unbeaten, that's when people say we played well. No, we beat Norwich the other year, last season at home, early in the season, and that was the best we played that season. Best football. But what we done at Sheffield United when we went up there the other week and won 1-0, we played well because we done the basics right. Now, but people don't remember that. You don't remember the organisation being right. You remember the style of play. We didn't play well against Aston Villa. We didn't play well against Fulham, I don't think. We got out of jail there. But we've done the basics right. And if you can do the basics right, that's as good as playing pretty. You know, I watched it yesterday, and I know you're a fan of MIA. I thought Tottenham were boring, but won 2-0 and the top of the Premier League. But I thought they were boring. I don't think they were pretty at all. I don't remember Jose Mourinho playing good football except for his first era at Chelsea when he had Robben and Duff. They were good then, but you can play well, as Kent just put the word there, grinding out results, doing the basics right. Declan Rice done his job right. Balbrena done his job right. They weren't twisting people up. They weren't turning players inside out. They've done
let's
their
be fair,
job right.
we got relegated trying to play pretty football. So
there you go. And that's the thing. But sometimes that gets forgotten. And that's the thing. The best football, and I think you commented on this, and I was saying I see the other day, the best football I've seen at West Ham for a very, very long time, apart from the last season at the Bowen, was under Zola. I thought we played brilliant under him, but it got us nowhere. Sometimes do the basics right. And if you do the basics right, you win football matches. It doesn't have to be pretty.
And that's, I'll be honest, some people commented earlier on that they're enjoying watching football under Moyes more than they are Pellegrini. Maybe it's because of results, mate. I actually, for the past 3 games, sometimes, like when we played Leicester, Wolves, actually we had a very big attacking threat, even though we were playing a fairly defensive formation, and we were still having loads of shots, and it was good to watch. The last sort of 4 games, and maybe you put it down to Antonio, but one player can't make the rest of your side struggle to play football. I ain't enjoying. I'm not saying I'm sitting there loving watching West Ham play. I don't think it's brilliant football to watch. I really don't. I think there are some sides out there, Leeds, for example. Leeds are playing great football, but I'd rather be where we are than where Leeds are right now. Yeah. So and that's why I'm not moaning, because, you know, why I don't think it's brilliant is I think the stability at the moment is what we need. It's just such a refreshing change to be not even playing brilliant at times, but still picking up results and being nice and comfortable coming into Christmas and just having a season where we're not panicking about where we're going to get the next points from. It's just such a nice feeling to just not being worried about West Ham. So on that basis, I can't moan about it, and you know it's all good at the moment. But for me, that's why the Moyes contract, and this is about ambition, mate. I think we're seeing in life at the moment that anything can happen. We don't know what's around the corner. I don't think anyone would have expected us to be the way the world is at the moment, mate. I don't think anyone would have expected that. You know, life's fragile, mate. And while I'm happy for the stability now, I don't mind 2 years of stability. But once those 2 years are gone, I want us to go and try and achieve something as a football club again, mate. And all the time we're doing what ever going and achieving anything. So 2-year contract for me for David Moyes, great. I'd love to see us put in a plan and build something for that, then potentially changing, and then going and get someone in who can really kick us on as a football club and roll the dice, and and play some proper football again. And if we get relegated, mate, it ain't the end of the world. I would still like us to have a go at trying to do something at some point, not just think stability's good enough. For now, I'm happy with it. I'm not going to moan about it, and I'm comfortable with it, and it's all good. But I just want to see us in the next couple of years go and try and achieve something again.
Yeah, no, I get that. I personally don't think we'll see that under the ownership. I don't think that's just the manager. I think that's the ownership of the club.
No, I think you're right.
I don't think they've got the ambition. That's the only odd thing. Liam, just on the Mourinho thing, I meant as in English football, mate. I don't watch a lot of European football, so I couldn't comment on that. But I meant that regarding his managerial clubs. His second spell at Chelsea, I thought was poor. Don't think he played good at Man United, and I don't think he's playing nice football with Spurs. But I can't comment on Inter and Real Madrid, mate. I didn't ever watch it, if I'm honest. But no, mate, I do make you right. We don't want miracles. We don't expect big things. We're West Ham. We've never had big things. Now, we'll have a cup run once every 10 years. Mate, that keeps our fans happy. The problem is we ain't having that. Now, what was our last decent cup run? The last season at the Bowling? When we got to the...
Mate, let's be honest, in our lifetime, we still haven't seen West Ham really achieve anything as a football club. And I'd like to see that in my lifetime, mate. So if that means that you've got to roll the dice and go and bring a manager in who, you know, wants to have a go at something and you go and have a try and it don't work out, then so be it. But I wouldn't want to be a mid-table stable club for the rest of my life. Sod that, mate. I
No.
want to see us go and try and have a go at winning a trophy or, you know, getting into Europe. I've never seen us play proper European football. I see all the other clubs having European football. I see Everton going on proper European tours in group stages. You see it from Leicester. You see it from so many teams. We never get that opportunity. Southampton, we never get that opportunity.
Who were promoted the same season as us.
Yeah. So, I mean,
They've
that's the point. I just, you know, I'm okay for now. Yes, it's great what's happening. It's so much better than previous seasons. I'll take it. But at some point, I just want to see us go and try and have a go at bringing a bit of glory to West Ham again, because I think we deserve it, mate. I think the crowds that we have, the support that we have, we've always been a sleeping giant of a football club, mate. Everywhere you go, you can go on holiday anywhere in the world, and it don't matter where you are and what hotel you're in, there'll be West Ham fans in there. We're everywhere, mate. And we are a massive, massive, massive club, and we've hugely underachieved for my lifetime. And it would just be nice to see us have a little bit of glory, a little bit of success. Don't get me wrong, I don't want continued glory and success. I wouldn't want to be a Man City. I wouldn't want rich owners to come in and turn us into something that ain't got no heart and soul and whatever. And I think City fans would agree that they're not the same side that they used to be. I love the fact that West Ham's day is turning up at Old Trafford and Di Canio scoring a winner. That was at a cup final. I love the fact that we do things like that, and it makes because you don't have those days very often, it makes them all more special when they come round, and I love it. So that's great. But yeah, I'd still like to achieve a trophy. You know, I'd give anything for it, anything.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I do agree, and that once every now and then is more special than every year. I'm sure of it. I am sure of it. You know, and I think if Chelsea go, I know it's Lampard at Chelsea now. I think if they went on to win the league this year, I think that would mean more to them than it has for a long time, because they ain't won it for so many years. And with the level of competition that's up there now from all the other clubs, Man City, Liverpool, blah blah blah. You know, ain't Tottenham. You know, that I think it would mean more to Chelsea now to go and do it. But again, that's because they've spent a load of money this summer to be able to get there again. But I don't know, it is what it is. What do we expect from Leeds and Palace before we face Chelsea?
I think we already know. It's just more of the same. That's what we're going to get. I think we're going to get the same lineup, same team. I think we're going to get the same work rate, same effort. I think we're going to get what we've had for the last, for the majority of this season so far. I think we'll grind out a result somewhere in there. I think Palace probably ain't going to be the prettiest game to watch, to be quite honest with you, mate. I think both sides are organised and determined, but they haven't got, you know. So I think that will be. But we've come unstuck against Palace in recent times, mate, and it would be nice to see us do a job for them, really.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Leeds is the tough one. Leeds is the tough one.
I think we'll get beaten at Leeds. I do think that.
Leeds is the style that I don't think we're going to like. But Palace, I think we can have enough to get over them. But Leeds, I think that style might be not the right style for us.
Yeah, that's my take on it as well. And I think Leeds will outwork us, which I think is exactly what will cause us the problems through the graft. I'm not going to tell you they're going to beat us 2-3-0. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a 4-3 or a 5-3 or something like that, because I think we'll go on the counter and we could be lucky and get goals. I think we'll miss Antonio with the pace on the counter, though. I do think that. But I think Leeds just go, and it wouldn't surprise me if they beat us, if I'm being perfectly honest. Crystal Palace, I think we'll have enough about, because I think Palace are that. I think Palace are a bit like us. They rely on their three front men, Eze, Zaha, and whoever Townsend up there, whether it's Benteke, who I don't rate, but they rely on their quick players to get out, you know. And we have to be careful that day, because I think Kufau up against Zaha, in my opinion, you just put all your mortgage on the Kufau being booked, because he won't keep up with him and he will have to trip him. So I think we'll get 3 points out of the next two games. Then we play Chelsea. And as good as Chelsea are, and I'm not going to take nothing away from them, as good as they are, it ain't a gimme. Because for some reason, we do seem to up our game when we play these. So, same as Manchester United. We didn't play as well against Fulham, Sheffield United or Aston Villa as we did in that first 45 minutes to an hour against Manchester United. Not at all. And maybe We will have to rubber the green if we start a game like that against them. I'm not saying it'd be as easy, but if we did and we took our chances, maybe we will be 2-3-0 up, and that game's pretty much over and done with. But
I think Chelsea have struggled to score against us, mate. I think Tottenham showed that you can completely nullify what they try and do. Tottenham completely shut out Chelsea, just done. And I think that's what we're actually good at, is stopping teams from getting chances, stopping teams from playing. So I think Moyes, like we said, I've got probably more confidence against Chelsea than I have with Leeds, which is weird to say that, but I just think it's the styles. I think Leeds have got a style that I think will not play into our strengths at all. But I think against Chelsea, I think we've got enough of a defensive style about us that could really make it difficult for them. You know, if they go and get an early goal, that could change everything, and that can happen at any time. It only takes a second to score a goal. But I do think if we can get a foothold on that game, I think we could do all right against Chelsea.
Yeah. No, I agree. Right now, as we've said, that the game is Friday night against Leeds. Unfortunately, I'm going to just be real. Unfortunately, I ain't confident. I ain't. And like, for the reasons you're saying, it's their style. It's relentless from them. And I'm not sure we'll be able to cope with it being so relentless. For the reason that one time it goes in. You know, if Leeds start against West Ham as Leeds started against Chelsea, scoring early as Bamford did, we don't have enough to react in the game, because we don't change nothing. We just rely on what we're doing is going to work. And I ain't convinced our style is a style that beats Leeds, if I'm perfectly honest. And I don't want to sound all negative, because right now, as you said a minute ago, mate, we're 7th in the Premier League still. We might drop down position tonight if Southampton beat Brighton or draw. But we'll still be in the top 10 come the end of this weekend, which is really good. It's positive. Normally we're in the bottom 10, bottom 5 this time of year, with Christmas coming around the corner, thinking how we're going to get through these games. There's positive things there. The side's done well. The manager's changed it well for certain occasions. He just needs to be brave now, for me, and attack games differently. Different teams, different styles. Be brave. Have a go at them. Don't just rely on the only one thing you know. Try and mix it up a bit. And you know what? Even if it meant the weekend, it meant we lost one of Bowen or Fornals, for argument's sake, to have the extra body in midfield, to deal with them coming through us as they do, then so be it. I'll be happy with that. I'm not going to sit and he's being negative, he's going defensive. Some games you have to do that. There'll be teams that do it to us. 100% there will, because you adapt to who you're playing every single time, and we don't. That's the only negative I've got of David Moyes right now. The rest of it, I'll be positive. And all right, I'm lying. I spoke about the Russian Antonio back. That's the only negative vibes I've got of David Moyes right now. Still wouldn't stop me giving that man a contract. I'd give him it. I didn't want him at the club, but I will still give him the contract right now.
Fair play, mate. Well, should we wrap it up there then?
Yeah, cool on the game. I think that's a good thing to leave it on. Sorry, mate, my phone's just ringing. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to leave it on. Just, it's one of them, innit? We've coming off of a defeat, so things do get a little bit. It's not negative; it's constructive criticism. You know, there's a reason that we're football managers and we're talkers. We do not pundits. We ain't pundits. We have an opinion, and we all have our own. Like you're saying, could be a lot worse, mate. We could be Arsenal, and
we could be Arsenal. It's good, isn't it? Did you see them going mental when that second goal went in as well? It was beautiful, mate. Absolutely beautiful.
It, mate. I love it. I can't think of anything better. That has got to be the worst fan base in the history of English football. Never, ever happy. Arteta was the best next thing. Now they want him out. I don't know what they expect. I don't know what them fans of that football club expect. And I love, after the way they treated us when we was collecting for a little while, I love seeing them struggling the way they are. If we finish above them, that will mean everything to me this season. Even if it means it's 17th and 16th, that will mean everything to me.
You know, mate. Right, good luck, mate. And
take care.
Yeah, we'll be back at some point during the week.
Indeed. And thank you all for joining in.
I'm forever blowing bubbles. Pretty bubbles. bubbles in